Christmas night. Darnell sat frozen as his blind date stood up in the crowded restaurant. "You're not my type. No apology, no mercy." She walked out, leaving him alone in the familiar humiliation of another failed setup. A single dad rejected again. He stood to leave, running a hand over his close-cropped fade. Then a woman's voice cut through the noise, clear and calm. "Can you be my new husband?" Darnell turned, stunned. A stranger sat at the next table, looking straight at him. That Christmas night, could it be the beginning of a new family? The woman sat alone at the table beside him, dark hair pulled back, sharp suit. She looked out of place in this casual restaurant, like she belonged somewhere with white tablecloths and wine lists thicker than phone books. Darnell stared at her. "Excuse me, can you be my new husband?" Victoria Sterling repeated. Her voice stayed level. No smile, no joke in her eyes. Darnell's throat went dry. I don't understand." "I heard everything," Victoria said. She nodded toward the empty chair across from Darnell. "Your date, what she said to you." Heat crawled up Darnell's brown skin. The humiliation doubled. A stranger had witnessed it all. He grabbed his coat from the back of his chair. "I need to go. Wait." Victoria stood. Not fast, not desperate, just firm. "I'm serious about my question." Darnell froze. He looked at her again, really looked. She was maybe 35. Confident posture, expensive watch. Everything about her screamed success. And she was asking him to marry her. "You're insane," Darnell said probably. Victoria tilted her head. "But I'm also very alone. And so are you." The words hit harder than they should have. Darnell had spent 6 years alone. 6 years since Maya died. 6 years raising Zoe by himself in a house that still smelled like his wife's lavender lotion because he couldn't bring himself to throw away the half-empty bottle in the bathroom cabinet. He tried dating. He really did. His sister set him up. His co-worker's wife set him up. Even his neighbor tried once. Every single time, the same result. The women would smile at first. They'd ask about his job, his hobbies. Then he'd mention Zoe. The shift happened fast. Polite interest turned into careful distance. Some women said it outright. "I'm not ready for kids." Others made excuses. "I'm really busy with work right now." One woman actually said, "You come with baggage and I travel light." Baggage. Like his daughter was a suitcase he dragged behind him. Tonight's date had been the worst. She didn't even pretend. She took one look at the photo of Zoe on his phone, his little girl with her bright smile and beaded braids, and said, "You're not my type." Then she left. Just walked out. Left him sitting there like an idiot. While the waiter hovered nearby, clearly wondering if he should take away the second menu. Darnell had felt it sink in deeper each time, the belief that had been growing for years. He wasn't good enough, not anymore. Not as a package deal. Now this stranger stood in front of him asking him to marry her. "Sit down," Victoria said. "Let me buy you dinner." "Why would you do that?" "Because you look like you need it," Victoria said. "And because I want to talk to you." Darnell should have said no, should have walked out. But something in her voice stopped him. She wasn't pitying him. She wasn't mocking him either. She just sounded tired, like she understood. He sat back down. Victoria took the chair across from him, the one his date had abandoned 20 minutes ago. She waved the waiter over and ordered 2 glasses of red wine without asking Darnell what he wanted. When the waiter left, she folded her hands on the table. "My family has been pressuring me to get married for 3 years, Victoria said. They have entire spreadsheets of eligible men, doctors, lawyers, entrepreneurs. They parade them in front of me at every holiday dinner like I'm supposed to pick one off a shelf." Darnell said nothing. He didn't know what to say. "The problem is," Victoria continued, "every man I've dated only wanted 2 things, my money or my connections. Sometimes both. I built my company from nothing. 15-hour days, missed birthdays, missed weddings. I sacrificed everything to make it work. And now that it's successful, everyone wants a piece of it. The waiter brought the wine. Victoria picked up her glass, but didn't drink. "I want a family," she said quietly. "A real one, not a transaction, not a merger, just people who care about each other." Darnell's chest tightened. He knew that feeling, that ache for something whole. "Why me?" he asked. "You don't know anything about me." "I know you have a daughter," Victoria said. "I heard you talking about her before your date showed up. You said she drew you a picture of a reindeer this morning. You said she taped it to the fridge even though there's no more room because she's covered every inch of it with her art." Darnell blinked. He had said that while waiting for his date, nervously filling the silence. "I know you're a single father," Victoria went on, "and I know women keep rejecting you because of it. I heard what she said about you not being her type." Shame burned in Darnell's stomach. "I can't have children," Victoria said. The words came out flat. Matter of fact, like she'd said them so many times, they'd lost all weight. "I found out 5 years ago," she continued. "Medical condition irreversible. When I told my ex-fiancé, he called off the wedding, said he wanted a real family. His words, not mine." Darnell's anger flared. "That's horrible, it is," Victoria agreed. "But it's also reality. Men want children. They want legacy. I can't give them that. So, they leave, or they stay and treat me like I'm broken, like I'm less than whole." She finally took a sip of wine. "When I heard your conversation tonight," Victoria said, "I thought maybe God was playing a joke, or maybe he was giving me a chance. You have a daughter who needs a mother. I want a child but can't have one. You keep getting rejected for having a kid. I keep getting rejected for not being able to have them." She set down her glass. "It makes sense," she said simply. "Logically, practically, we could help each other." Darnell stared at her. She was serious, completely serious. "You don't know me," he said again. "Weaker this time." "Then let's fix that," Victoria said. "Give me your number. Let me meet your daughter. Let's see if this insane idea could actually work." Darnell's hands trembled. This was crazy. She was a stranger, a beautiful, successful, clearly intelligent stranger who was proposing marriage in a cheap Italian restaurant on Christmas night. But she wasn't looking at him like he was broken. She wasn't looking at him like he came with baggage. She was looking at him like he might be the answer to a problem she'd been trying to solve for years. "I don't know." Darnell said, "You don't have to know." Victoria said, "Just give me a chance. One chance. If it doesn't work, we walk away." "No harm done." The waiter appeared again, asked if they were ready to order. Victoria ordered pasta. Darnell ordered the same thing. Too distracted to think about food. They ate. They talked. Victoria told him about her company, software development. Started in her garage 10 years ago. Now she had 200 employees and offices in 3 cities. She worked 80-hour weeks. She barely slept. She couldn't remember the last time she took a vacation. Darnell told her about Zoe, how she was 7 years old, how she loved drawing and hated broccoli, how she asked about her mom sometimes but mostly seemed okay, how she'd started asking Darnell why he didn't have a girlfriend like her friend Emma's dad did. "What do you tell her?" Victoria asked. "I tell her I'm waiting for the right person," Darnell said. "And are you?" Darnell looked down at his plate. "I don't know anymore. I thought I was. But maybe the right person doesn't exist for someone like me. Someone like you," Victoria repeated. "A good father who shows up for his kid, who keeps trying, even after getting rejected over and over. That sounds like exactly the kind of person someone would want." Darnell's throat closed up. He hadn't heard words like that in years. When they finished eating, Victoria pulled out her phone. "Your number?" she said. Darnell hesitated. Then he gave it to her. Victoria typed it in, sent him a text so he'd have hers. "I mean it," she said. "I want to meet Zoe. I want to see if this could work." "Why?" Darnell asked one more time. "Why are you doing this?" Victoria stood, put on her coat, looked him straight in the eye. "Because I'm tired of being alone," she said, "and I think you are too." She left cash on the table for both meals. Then she walked out of the restaurant. Darnell sat there staring at the text on his phone. "This is Victoria. Call me when you're ready." He didn't know if he'd ever be ready. But for the first time in 6 years, he felt something other than resignation. He felt hope. Darnell didn't call for 3 days. He stared at Victoria's text every night after Zoe went to bed. His thumb hovered over her name, but he couldn't do it. Couldn't bring himself to dial. What would he even say? "Hi, remember me? The guy whose date walked out on him. Want to come meet my 7-year-old and pretend we're a family?" It sounded ridiculous in his head. On the 4th day, Victoria called him. "You're overthinking this," she said when he answered. "No greeting, just straight to the point." Darnell sat on his couch in the dark. "How do you know?" "Because I've been doing the same thing," Victoria admitted. "I almost deleted your number twice, but then I remembered why I asked you in the first place." "Why did you?" Darnell asked. "Because I'm tired of being careful," Victoria said. "I've spent 5 years being careful, vetting men, waiting for the right time, playing it safe, and I'm still alone. So maybe it's time to try something different." Darnell closed his eyes. "I have a daughter. I know. She's been through enough. I can't bring someone into her life unless I'm sure." "You'll never be sure," Victoria said quietly. "That's the point. You just have to decide if it's worth the risk." Silence stretched between them. "Saturday," Darnell finally said, "there's a park near my house. Zoe likes to feed the ducks. If you want to meet her, you could come." "What time?" Victoria asked. 10 in the morning. I'll be there." She hung up before Darnell could change his mind. Saturday came too fast. Darnell woke up with his stomach in knots. He made Zoe her favorite breakfast, chocolate chip pancakes. She ate them at the kitchen table, swinging her legs and humming a song from school. "We're meeting someone at the park today," Darnell said, trying to sound casual. Zoe looked up, her dark curls bouncing in the 2 puffs he'd styled that morning. "Who?" "A friend of mine. Her name is Victoria. Is she nice?" "I think so. Does she like ducks?" Darnell smiled despite his nerves. "I don't know. You'll have to ask her." Victoria showed up exactly on time. She wore jeans and a sweater instead of a suit. Her hair was down. She looked softer somehow, less like a CEO and more like someone who belonged in a park on a Saturday morning. Zoe ran ahead to the pond. Darnell and Victoria walked side by side, a careful distance between them. "Thank you for coming," Darnell said. "Thank you for inviting me," Victoria replied. They watched Zoe throw breadcrumbs to the ducks. She laughed when one of them waddled too close and almost stole the whole bag from her hand. "She looks like you," Victoria said. "Same deep brown eyes, same smile." "She has her mother's smile," Darnell said. The words came out automatically. "A reflex," Victoria didn't respond, just nodded. Zoe came running back. "Dad, that duck is so fat, I think he ate all the bread. Maybe he's storing it for winter," Darnell said. Zoe giggled. Then she noticed Victoria. Her face went curious. "Hi," Zoe said. "Are you my dad's friend?" "I am," Victoria said. She crouched down to Zoe's eye level. "My name is Victoria." "What's yours, Zoe?" "That's a beautiful name." "Thank you. I'm named after a flower." "I know," Victoria said. "Zoe's are my favorite." Zoe's face lit up. "Really? Really?" Just like that, the ice broke. Zoe started chattering about the ducks, about school, about the drawing she made yesterday of a dragon eating a pizza. Victoria listened to every word. She asked questions. She laughed at Zoe's jokes. Darnell watched them, something warm and terrifying growing in his chest. After the park, Zoe asked if Victoria wanted to see her room. Darnell almost said no, but Victoria said yes before he could stop it. His house felt smaller with Victoria in it. She stood in the living room looking at the photos on the wall. Most of them were of Zoe. A few were of Maya. Darnell saw Victoria's eyes linger on one. Maya holding newborn Zoe in the hospital, both of them smiling, Maya's rich dark skin glowing even in the hospital light, Zoe tiny and perfect in her arms. She was beautiful, Victoria said softly. Yeah, Darnell managed. She was. Victoria didn't say anything else, just followed Zoe upstairs. Zoe's room was an explosion of color. Drawings covered every surface, the walls, the desk, even the ceiling had a few taped up. Victoria stopped in the doorway, taking it all in. Wow, she said. I like to draw, Zoe said proudly. I can see that. Victoria stepped closer to one of the drawings. A family of rabbits having a tea party. This is amazing. Did you draw this yourself? Uh-huh, last week. You're very talented, Zoe beamed. They stayed for an hour. Victoria sat on the floor with Zoe and drew with her. She wasn't good at it. Her rabbit looked more like a deformed potato, but Zoe thought it was hilarious, and that seemed to be enough. When Victoria left, Zoe hugged her goodbye. A quick, spontaneous hug that made Victoria's eyes go bright. Can she come back? Zoe asked after Victoria drove away. Darnell looked down at his daughter. Do you want her to? Yeah, she's nice, and she tried really hard to draw even though she's bad at it. Darnell laughed. Yeah, she did. Victoria came back the next weekend and the weekend after that. It became a routine. Saturday mornings. Sometimes they went to the park. Sometimes they got ice cream. Once they went to a museum, and Zoe spent 2 hours staring at the dinosaur bones. Darnell started to relax, started to let himself believe this might actually work. But late at night, when Zoe was asleep and the house was quiet, the fear crept in. He'd sit in the living room and stare at Maya's photo, the one from their wedding day. She was laughing, head thrown back, so alive, her locks cascading down her shoulders. What would she think of this? Of him moving on? Of him bringing another woman into Zoe's life? The guilt sat heavy in his chest. Victoria felt it too. He could tell. She never stayed too long, never pushed too hard. She kept a careful distance like she was afraid of taking up too much space. One night after Zoe went to bed, Victoria stayed for coffee. They sat at the kitchen table, mugs between them. Can I ask you something? Victoria said. Sure. Do you think about her when I'm here? Darnell's hands tightened around his mug. Yes. Does it bother you? I don't know, Darnell said honestly. Sometimes I feel like I'm betraying her, like I'm replacing her. You're not replacing her, Victoria said quietly. You can't replace someone who was loved. That's not how it works. Then what am I doing? Victoria looked down at her coffee. I think you're trying to move forward, and I think she'd want that for you. You didn't know her? No. Victoria agreed. But I know what it's like to lose someone. My mom died when I was 12. Cancer. And for years, my dad wouldn't even look at another woman. He said it felt wrong, like he was dishonoring her memory. Darnell waited. Then one day, Victoria continued, he met someone at the grocery store. They started talking. Eventually, they started dating. I hated her at first, thought she was trying to take my mom's place. But she wasn't. She was just there filling a different space, and my dad was happy again. Really happy. For the first time since Mom died. What happened to them? They got married. Victoria said, they're still together. And I love her now because she made my dad whole again. She didn't replace my mom. She just helped him keep living. Darnell swallowed hard. I'm not trying to replace Maya, Victoria said. I'm not trying to be Zoe's mom. I'm just trying to be part of your lives. If you'll let me. I want to, Darnell said. I just don't know if I'm ready. No one's ever ready, Victoria said. She reached across the table. Her hand stopped halfway, not quite touching his. But maybe we can figure it out together. Darnell looked at her hand, then at her face. She looked scared, hopeful, vulnerable. He took her hand. 2 months later, Zoe came home with a permission slip. Art competition at school. Students could invite their families to watch. "Can Victoria come?" Zoe asked. Darnell's chest tightened. "You want her there?" "Yeah, she likes my drawings." So Victoria came. The school gym was packed with parents and kids. Artwork lined the walls, paintings, sculptures, drawings of every kind. Zoe's section was in the corner, 3 drawings pinned to a board. The first was a sunset. Her eyes were wide, wet. "Zoe," Darnell called. He walked over, trying to keep his voice calm. "Can I talk to you for a second?" But before he could say anything else, someone else spoke. "Darnell." He turned. His stomach dropped. Patricia stood a few feet away, Maya's best friend from college. She was staring at Victoria, then at the drawing, then back at Darnell. "Hi, Patricia," Darnell said weakly. "I didn't know you were seeing someone," Patricia said. Her voice was tight. "It's new," Darnell said. "New?" Patricia's eyes went sharp. "Maya's been gone 6 years and you've already got someone new, already replacing her. That's not." And teaching Zoe to call her mom. Patricia's voice rose. Maya would be heartbroken. Other people were staring now, whispering. Darnell's chest felt like it was caving in. "It's not like that then." "What's it like?" Patricia demanded. Darnell looked at Victoria. She stood frozen, her face pale. And in that moment, all Darnell could think was, "Everyone thinks I'm betraying Maya. Everyone thinks I moved on too fast. Everyone thinks I'm wrong. Victoria's just a friend," Darnell heard himself say. The words came out before he could stop them. "She's not Zoe's mom. She's just helping out." Victoria flinched like he'd slapped her. "Good," Patricia said coldly. "Because Maya was irreplaceable." She walked away. Darnell turned to Victoria. "I'm sorry. I didn't mean—" "Yes, you did," Victoria said quietly. Her voice shook. "You meant every word, Victoria. I should go." She grabbed her purse, started toward the door. "Wait, please." Darnell reached for her arm. Victoria pulled away. "I'm not a replacement, Darnell, and I'm not a placeholder either. I thought you understood that, but you don't. You're still stuck in the past, and I can't compete with a ghost. That's not fair, isn't it?" Victoria's eyes filled with tears. "You just told a room full of people that I'm nothing, that I don't matter, that I'm just someone helping out. I was trying to protect Zoe." "From what?" Victoria's voice broke. "From having someone who cares about her, from having someone who wants to be part of her life." Darnell didn't have an answer. Victoria wiped her eyes. "I can't do this. I'm sorry. I thought I could, but I can't keep pretending I belong in a family that doesn't want me." She left. Darnell stood there frozen. Zoe appeared beside him. "Where did Victoria go?" "Home," Darnell said numbly. "Why?" "I don't know." But he did know. He'd pushed her away. He'd chosen the easy path, the safe path, the path where he didn't have to face the guilt or the judgment or the fear of moving on, and he'd lost her. The next week was silent. Victoria didn't call, didn't text, didn't show up on Saturday morning. Zoe asked about her every day. "Is Victoria coming? When can we see Victoria? Did I do something wrong?" Darnell didn't know what to say, so he said nothing. The house felt emptier than it had in years, like something vital had been ripped out. On Thursday night, Darnell found a note stuck to Zoe's bedroom door. Pink construction paper, crayon letters. "I want Miss Victoria to be my new mom." Darnell's knees went weak. He sank to the floor. The note clutched in his hand. Zoe didn't just like Victoria. She loved her. She wanted her. She'd chosen her, and Darnell had driven her away. He thought about Maya, really thought about her, not the idealized version he'd built in his head. The real Maya, the woman who laughed too loud at bad jokes, who burned dinner twice a week, who used to braid Zoe's hair while singing old Motown songs, who loved him and Zoe more than anything in the world. What would she want? She'd want Zoe to be happy. She'd want Darnell to be happy. She'd want them to have a full life, a whole life. Victoria wasn't replacing Maya. She was just filling a space that had been empty for too long, a space Maya would have wanted filled. Darnell stood up, pulled out his phone, stared at Victoria's number. He wanted to call, wanted to apologize, wanted to fix this. But he didn't know how. Didn't know if she'd even answer. He'd hurt her, pushed her away when she needed him most, and now he didn't know if he could get her back. This was the bottom, the lowest point. Darnell sat on the edge of Zoe's bed, holding his daughter's note, and let himself feel the full weight of what he'd done. He'd been given a second chance at happiness, and he'd thrown it away. Darnell didn't sleep that night. He sat in the living room until dawn, staring at Zoe's note, the pink paper crumpled in his hands from holding it too tight. By morning, he knew what he had to do. He called his sister and asked if she could watch Zoe after school. She asked why. He said he needed to fix something. She didn't push. At 6 p.m. in the evening, Darnell stood outside Victoria's apartment building. Snow fell in thick flakes, coating his hair and shoulders, melting against his dark skin. He'd been standing there for 10 minutes trying to find the courage to press the buzzer. His finger finally hit the button. "Hello?" Victoria's voice came through the speaker. Flat tired. "It's me," Darnell said. "Silence, please," Darnell added. "Just 5 minutes more silence." Then the door buzzed open. Darnell climbed 3 flights of stairs. His heart hammered against his ribs. When he reached her door, it was already open. Victoria stood in the doorway, arms crossed. She wore sweatpants and an old t-shirt. Her eyes were red. "What do you want?" she asked. Darnell's throat went dry. All the words he'd practiced in the car vanished. "I'm sorry," he finally said. "For which part?" Victoria's voice stayed cold. "For calling me just a friend? For making me feel like I didn't matter? Or for letting me believe I could be part of your family?" "All of it," Darnell said. Snow dripped from his coat onto her floor. "I'm sorry for all of it. Why are you here, Darnell?" "Because I was wrong," the words tumbled out. "I was scared. I am scared. Scared of loving you. Scared of losing you. Scared of hurting Zoe again if this doesn't work." Victoria's jaw tightened. "So you pushed me away instead. That was your solution. I know. I know it was stupid. I know I hurt you." Darnell took a step closer. "But I need you to understand something. When Maya died, I built walls, thick ones. I told myself I'd never let anyone in again, because losing her almost destroyed me. And then you showed up. You broke through everything I built. And that terrified me." "I'm not Maya," Victoria said, her voice breaking. "I will never be Maya. I don't want to be Maya." "I know," Darnell said. "And I don't want you to be, I want you to be you. I want you to be the woman who sat on my daughter's floor and drew terrible rabbits, who listened to her talk about ducks for an hour, who made her laugh and made her feel safe." Tears spilled down Victoria's cheeks. "I choose you," Darnell said. His own voice cracked. "Not to replace Maya, not to fill a hole, but because you're exactly who Zoe needs, who I need. You're not a substitute. You're not temporary. You're the person I want to build something new with." Victoria shook her head. "How do I know you won't do this again? How do I know the next time someone judges you, you won't throw me away to protect yourself?" "You don't," Darnell admitted. "I can't promise I'll be perfect. I can't promise I won't mess up again. But I can promise I'll fight for you, for us, for this family we're trying to build." He reached into his coat pocket, pulled out Zoe's note, handed it to Victoria. She unfolded it with shaking hands. "Read the crayon letters." Her breath hitched. "She loves you," Darnell said quietly, "and so do I." Victoria looked up at him. "What did you just say?" "I love you," Darnell repeated, stronger this time. I love you, Victoria. I should have said it weeks ago. I should have said it at the art show. I should have defended you, should have told Patricia and everyone else that you're not just someone helping out. You're the woman I'm falling in love with, the woman I want in my life. In our life, Victoria covered her mouth with her hand. More tears came. If you'll give me another chance, Darnell said, I'll spend every day proving I mean it, that you matter, that you belong. Victoria stood there trembling. Then she stepped forward and collapsed against his chest. He caught her, held her tight while she cried into his wet coat. I was so hurt, she whispered. I know. I'm sorry. I thought you didn't want me. I want you, Darnell said into her hair. God, I want you so much it scares me. They stood like that for a long time. The snow kept falling outside. The world kept turning. But in that moment, nothing else mattered. When Victoria finally pulled back, her face was blotchy and wet. What now? Now, Darnell said. I need you to come with me. Where? You'll see. 20 minutes later, they stood outside the Italian restaurant, the same one from Christmas night. The same place where Victoria had asked her impossible question and Darnell's life had changed forever. Why are we here? Victoria asked. Because this is where it started, Darnell said, and I want it to be where we really begin. He led her inside. The restaurant was half empty, a few couples scattered at tables. The same tired waiter from before moved between them. Darnell walked to the table where his blind date had left him, where Victoria had appeared like an answer to a prayer he didn't know he was praying. Sit, he said. Victoria sat. Darnell sat across from her. 3 months ago, Darnell started. I sat here feeling like the biggest failure in the world, convinced no one would ever want me. Convinced I'd spend the rest of my life alone because I came with baggage. Victoria's eyes were still red, but she listened. And then you asked me the craziest question I've ever heard, Darnell continued. You asked if I could be your new husband, and I thought you were insane. I thought there was no way this could work. So did I, Victoria said softly. But you were right, Darnell said. We fit, we make sense, not because we're trying to fix each other or use each other, but because we actually work together. You make Zoe happy, you make me happy. You make our house feel like a home again. He reached across the table, took both her hands. I'm not asking you to marry me, Darnell said. Not yet. Not until we're both ready. But I am asking you something else. What? Be our family, Darnell said. His voice went thick. Not as a friend, not as someone helping out, but as part of us, really part of us. Help me raise Zoe. Help me figure out this life. Let us be the family you've been looking for. Victoria's lip trembled. Darnell, I know it's scary, he cut in. I know we're broken in different ways. I know this isn't perfect, but I don't want perfect. I just want real, and this feels real. Victoria squeezed his hands. What about Maya? Maya loved me, Darnell said, and if she were here, she'd want me to be happy. She'd want Zoe to be happy. She'd want us to have a full life, not a half-empty one. You're not erasing her. You're just helping us keep living. Victoria closed her eyes. Fresh tears leaked out. I'm scared too, she whispered. Scared I'll never be enough. Scared Zoe will resent me one day for not being her real mom. Scared you'll wake up and realize you made a mistake. You're not a mistake, Darnell said firmly. You're the best thing that's happened to us in 6 years. The restaurant door opened. Darnell's sister walked in holding Zoe's hand. Zoe saw them and her face lit up. Victoria! She ran across the restaurant, her beaded braids swinging, and crashed into Victoria's chair. Victoria caught her, holding tight. I missed you, Zoe said into Victoria's sweater. I missed you too, Victoria managed. Zoe pulled back. Are you coming home? Victoria looked at Darnell. He nodded. I'd like to, Victoria said. "If that's okay with you." "It's very okay," Zoe said seriously. Then she took a breath. "Can I ask you something? Anything?" Zoe's voice went small. "Will you be my mom? My new mom? Not my old mom because I already had one, but my new one?" Victoria's face crumpled. She pulled Zoe into another hug, this one desperate and tight. "I've been waiting for you to ask," Victoria whispered. "Yes, yes, I'll be your mom." Zoe squealed and hugged tighter. Darnell's sister wiped her own eyes and quietly slipped back out of the restaurant, leaving the three of them alone. Darnell watched his daughter cling to Victoria, watched the woman he loved hold his child like she was the most precious thing in the world. This was his family now, imperfect, pieced together, built from loss and loneliness and a crazy question on Christmas night, but it was whole. 3 months later, the house smelled like pancakes. Real pancakes this time, not the slightly burned ones Darnell usually made. Victoria had gotten good at them. Zoe sat at the kitchen table drawing another picture. This one showed 3 people holding hands in front of a house, a sun in the corner, a dog that didn't exist yet, but Zoe kept insisting they needed. "When are we getting the puppy?" Zoe asked for the 100th time. "When you prove you can keep your room clean for a whole month," Victoria said, flipping a pancake. "That's impossible." "Then I guess no puppy." Zoe groaned dramatically. Darnell laughed from his spot by the coffee maker. Victoria brought the pancakes to the table, sat down next to Darnell. Her hand found his under the table. They ate breakfast together, talked about Zoe's day at school, about Victoria's big meeting tomorrow, about whether they should paint the guest room blue or green, normal things, family things. After breakfast, Zoe ran upstairs to get ready for school. Victoria started clearing plates. Darnell caught her hand. "Hey," he said. She turned. "Hey, I love you." Victoria smiled, the real smile, the one that made her whole face light up. "I love you too." She kissed him quick and soft, then pulled away to finish the dishes. Darnell watched her move around the kitchen like she'd always been there, like she'd always belonged. And maybe she had. Maybe some families weren't born. Maybe some were built slowly, carefully by people brave enough to ask impossible questions and crazy enough to believe in the answers. The morning light streamed through the windows. Zoe's footsteps thundered overhead. Victoria hummed while she washed the dishes. And Darnell realized something he should have known all along. This wasn't a replacement family. This wasn't a second-best family. This was just his family, different from before, but no less real, no less whole. He thought about that Christmas night, about sitting alone in a restaurant, convinced his life was over. And he thought about Victoria's voice cutting through the noise. "Can you be my new husband?" The craziest question he'd ever heard, and the best answer he'd ever given.